everybody, and welcome to our first breakout session. Today's lecture, titled The Importance of Voting, is brought to you by the League of Women Voters, a nonpartisan grassroots organization dedicated to protecting and expanding voting rights and ensuring fair representation in our democracy. The League empowers voters through advocacy, education, and legal efforts at all levels of government. Locally, the League of Women Voters of the Holland area works tirelessly to inform and engage the community by providing resources on the voting process, holding candidate forums, sponsoring voter registration drives, and maintaining the Vote 411 website. With a diverse membership of over 100 individuals committed to promoting informed voting, the League plays a crucial role in defending democracy. They do not support or oppose candidates, but they do take positions on issues, exemplified by their support of Proposal 2, Promote the Vote 2022, which amended Michigan's Constitution to strengthen voting rights. Today, we will explore how voting is essential to a functioning democracy and how organizations like the League of Women Voters work to ensure every voice is heard. Thank you.
Thank you. You covered some of our introduction, which is wonderful. My name is Barb Ferguson. I'm the current president of the League of Women Voters of Holland area.
And I am Anna Perales, and I am a co-chair for Voter Services.
We'd like to know who's in the room. So how many of you are Michigan residents? Very good. You put your hands down. How many of you are not Michigan residents? Okay. How many of you are registered to vote? Wonderful. Love that. How many of you have voted in a general election, one where there's a president on the ballot? Okay, a few. You can put your hands down. And how many of you have voted in a primary election, where the local candidates are selected to represent their party? Okay, very good. Well, today we're going to start by telling you a little bit about the League of Women Voters. And as you heard, our mission is to empower voters and defend democracy. The organization is over 100 years old. It was founded after women got the right to vote, to help women know how to vote and help to register to vote. Unfortunately, at that time, it was only white women. The African American women were not included until a little bit later. And the League as an organization, it's a national, state, and local organization, has really taken ownership of that, and the DEI initiatives are very strong, locally, statewide, and nationally. We are, as Colin said, a nonpartisan organization. That means we do not support candidates, we do not oppose candidates. Our mission is really to help voters know about the candidates. And so right now we're in a really busy season when we're having candidate forums, candidate meet and greets, and we have a printed voters guide that will be available at the library that covers all of the Michigan races, and then we also have an insert for our local races. So our mission is really help voters be informed so that they can make their own choices. We are a grassroots organization and all volunteers. So here you can see our mission. Our vision is to envision a democracy where every person has the desire, the right, the knowledge, and the confidence to participate in our democracy. And we believe in the power of women. So now we're going to talk about the importance of voting.
Your voice, your vote is your voice. This is our opportunity to choose who will represent you in local, statewide, and national decisions like education and healthcare. What issues are important to you? We are a nation of self-rule. We all have the responsibility to build this nation together. So what issues are important to you?
What do you care about? What do you want the ballot?
Education
Education.
Yes.
and nation, and democracy.
Yes. 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 Yes.
of self-rule.
Okay. And I saw another hand in the back. Okay, maybe not.
No, we're back in the back.
Oh, sorry.
Wait,
Yes.
Me, okay, everyone gets equal rights to, healthcare and, like, needs for healthcare and, like for health, like, everyone gets the same benefits or more benefits than others, but everyone gets basic benefits.
And then I had one more back there.
I was gonna say taxes.
What was that first? I'm sorry.
Taxes.
Taxes, okay, okay. The chart you are seeing is information provided by the Ottawa County Clerk's Office, comparing the number of registered voters between the ages of 18 and 30 who reside here in the city of Holland, Holland Township, and Park Township. Note that the number of registered voter in this category increased between 2020 and 2024. More young people registered to vote.
And,
So-
yeah, go ahead. National Voter Registration Day was last Tuesday. And close to 150,000 people registered at vote.org. And of those, 85% were young people. So young people are registering to vote, which is really the first step.
Right, exactly. And so what does this graph tell you? This is startling. It is important to do more than just register to vote. It needs to actually, you need to actually cast a ballot to have your voices heard. The graph shows that although more voters aged 18 to 30 were registered to vote, the number who actually voted in the primary election did not increase. Keep in mind that this represents only a small portion of voters in this area. And we're hoping it's not a trend in other jurisdictions, but I'm sure that it probably could be, okay? Because people love to register, but they feel it's hard sometimes to get to go where you're gonna vote. So we'll talk a little bit about that, especially if you're from out of state, okay?
I heard a piece on the radio as I was coming that young people tend not to vote, but those who vote are mainly women. So guys, you gotta get out there and vote.
Make that equal. This tells us that to get out the vote, efforts are really important. Your vote does matter. Here are a number of ways to find out if you're registered to vote in Michigan. Go to any of these websites, the michigan.gov vote/vote, michiganvoting.org, or vote411.org. And just type in a little bit of your information, your name, address, and possibly your driver's license. And it will tell you whether you're registered, and it will also tell you what location you're registered at. So that's the greatest part. So if you know that you're registered in your hometown, but not here in Holland, we'll get to that in a little bit, okay? Pardon? This one? Okay, so if this is your situation, I'm from Michigan and I go to school in Michigan. You can register to vote using your school address or home address. If you use your school address, though, your driver's license will change to your school address, okay? You'll get a little sticker in the mail and that goes behind on your driver's license. I'm from Michigan and I go to school outside of Michigan. You can register to vote using your primary residence address in Michigan. I'm not from Michigan, but I go to school in Michigan. I think some of you are here from that, right? You can register to vote using your school address in Michigan, but you would no longer be registered in your home state. They'd take you off the voting roll, okay? So if you plan on going back home after school, after your 4 years or however many years you're coming to hope for, make sure that you change that back, okay?
The
the same address, just remember this, the same address must be used for your Michigan voter registration and your Michigan driver's license. I'm going to give you a little bit of a tidbit. I used to work in the city clerk's office here in Holland, and I was in elections, and I wanted to tell you that we had many parents that called and said, my son changed his address to his school's address. Technically, she was rather upset because that's not really his permanent residence, okay? So make sure that you look into that before you change your address to your school address, okay? So this means the address, will automatically update to match your voter registration address. You will receive a sticker, which I said earlier. There may also be FAFSA and tax implications if you change your permanent address to your school address. So check into that before you choose this option, okay? If you are an out-of-state resident, you may be able to request an absentee ballot from your local clerk. Check with the clerk in your area. There's always time to get an absentee ballot. If you are a Michigan, is an absentee ballot the best choice? If you are a Michigan resident and want to keep your home address, not your school address, as your permanent address for your driver's license or state ID, an absentee ballot may be the best option for you. An absentee ballot can be sent to a temporary address. Make sure you notify the clerk's office when you, where you are registered to vote in sufficient time to have the ballot sent to your temporary address, school address. Ballots cannot be forwarded. The Postal Service cannot forward any election to your temporary address, okay? They can send it to your temporary mailing address, but not if you still have your permanent address on there, okay? Hope that made sense. However, be sure that you call the clerk's office in sufficient time. You will need to notify the clerk in advance if you want your ballot sent to the school address. Your ballot cannot be forwarded from your home address to your school address. The only person that could possibly do that is going to be your parents, okay? It must be sent directly to you. Another option is to have your parents send the ballot to you. Just be sure to return it in time to be counted. Absentee ballots for the November election are available on September 26th, which is tomorrow. So you should contact your clerk right away if this is an option that you choose to do. Send it back at least 2 weeks before the election by October 22nd. You can also hand in your absentee ballot by election day if you go home and visit on a weekend, okay? Are there any questions about that? Quiet.
How many of you expect that you'll be voting by absentee?
And how many of you have already, you can put your hand down, how many already requested an absentee ballot? Good job.
How many asked for it to be forwarded to your school address? Oh, okay.
As a temporary?
How many are going to go
Good
home
job.
and, well, how many of your parents are going to send it to you here at school?
Good.
And how many of you are going to go home and get it?
Yes.
Ah, okay.
Wow.
You have a voting plan. That's wonderful.
Yes, it is.
You have to think ahead about those things, especially with the deadlines.
So, okay, so can I vote in person? If you're a Michigan resident and want to keep your home address, not your school address, as your permanent address for your driver's license or state ID, an absentee ballot may be the best option for you. Early voting in Michigan begins October 26th and ends on November 3rd. And this is throughout the state for early voting. So your the area that you live in has a lot of these locations already set up for you to go and do an early voting if you'd like.
So Kaylin talked a little bit about Kylan, sorry, that's right.
Okay.
Talked a little bit about Proposal 2 that was passed in 2022, and it really made Michigan really strong in protecting voting rights. There are some voting rights that were enhanced or expanded, and there were some that were brand new. So, yep. Those that have been enhanced are the way that the election results are certified. So after the election, the Board of Canvassers in each county gets the results from the precincts. And that's where everything's counted and the math is checked, the voter book is checked, and then that's where the election results are certified. It's called the Board of Canvassers. It is located in the clerk's office of the county. Anybody can go and watch. And if there are people who have questions about the security of the election, my advice to them is go watch a Board of Canvassers meeting, and you'll be impressed with how carefully all of those election results are tallied and double-checked and then certified. The County Board of Canvassers results go to the state, and then the state certifies the election. So that whole process was made very clear in the Constitution. Proposal 2 was a constitutional amendment. And then there were also changes made to the absentee voting. In Michigan, there's no reason anybody who's a registered voter can vote by absentee. Now you have prepaid postage, so you don't have to find a stamp if you're going to mail your absentee ballot back in. And there's enhanced ballot tracking. You can go on the state site, the Secretary of State's site, and actually see if your absentee ballot has been received, where it is, if it's on the way. And also, you now have a right to be notified if there's a problem. The clerk will say, there's something wrong with your ballot, and you can come in and fix it. It's not your actual ballot, it's the absentee and ballot envelope. We'll look at that in a minute. And then there are some new voting rights. And as Anna said, the early voting is something brand new. Now in Michigan, you have 9 days before the actual election day when you can go in to your voting polling place and vote in person, just like on election day. You go in, go through the same process. At that time, if you got an absentee ballot and you really want to just feed it into the tabulator, you can do that too. I did that for the presidential primary. It was really interesting. You know, I could fill it out at home, do my research, and then take the ballot I had filled out to my precinct and just go through the line, you know, where you have to sign the application to vote, and they check you against the voter rolls. And then I could take my ballot and feed it into the tabulator. So that's a new option in Michigan. Every jurisdiction is required to have 9 days when the early voting occurs, and they have to have at least 8 hours a day. So that, you know, there's options for people who, you know, some people have to work 1 or 2 jobs and they can't get to the polls on election day. So this really opens the door for a lot more people to be able to vote conveniently. On the table up here in front, we have a list of the Ottawa County early voting sites and times. In Ottawa County, the jurisdictions all got together and they picked 4 locations in the county that are kind of, you know, they make sense within the county. In Allegan County, each precinct has their own early voting time. So if you're going to vote during early voting and you're not really sure what, where or when, all you have to do is contact your county clerk. They have those posted on their website. Another new, whoops, go back. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, another new voting right is that now military and overseas voters can have their ballots counted as long as they're postmarked on election day and received by the clerk within 6 days of election day. So that's brand new. And the charitable contributions has to do with, for example, a church donating their space for a polling place. Those are now all, you can see what they are. And then there is paid transportation to the polls. I think most of that occurs like in the Detroit area.
I think Max does it too.
Max does it
Yeah.
also? Okay. So if transportation is an issue, and it is for some people, then that's an option. So the important dates to remember are November 5th is the general election day. Polls open at 7 in the morning and they're open until 8 at night. And as long as you are in line by 8 o'clock, you can vote. Early voting starts on October 26th, and that's the in-person early voting. And it ends the Sunday before Election Day. And then absentee ballots are supposed to be available tomorrow. So if you already have an application in, you should be receiving yours soon. They're sent out by the clerk, the county clerk.
Okay.
I didn't know where it was going.
I forgot.
So you can still apply for an absentee ballot if you haven't done so and want to. You can apply online until October 21st. After October 21st, you have to go to your clerk's office because they have to verify your signature and who you really are. So this application is available online. You can fill it out, submit it, and you should then get an absentee ballot. Important things to remember about the absentee ballot. And this is probably the reason that most people's absentee ballot is not counted, is that you need to sign the envelope. Use the signature that you use on your driver's license. That's really important. And then you can either just drop it in the mail, just be sure you do it in time for it to get there. Or you can take it to a drop box. You can't drop it at any drop box though. You have to drop it at the drop box that goes with your precinct. And the easiest way to tell is to look at the address on the envelope. So this one says City of Holland. There are 2 drop boxes in Holland, one at City Hall and one at the BPW off Hastings. So if you go to the county clerk's website again, they'll give you the locations of all the drop boxes. How many of you live in the Holland area? Isn't that a fair number? So if you're voting in person, just a few things to remember. Be sure you know where your precinct is, and we'll talk to you about how to find out if you're not sure. Bring your photo ID, either your Michigan driver's license or if you have a student ID, that's okay too. You can take your cell phone in if you're using it for information. You can't use it in a way that's disruptive to any of the other voters. You also can't wear campaign paraphernalia. You can't wear a campaign button, a hat, a shirt. Those are not allowed at the polling place. And then you can split your ticket on a general election. This is kind of confusing for people, probably more so during a primary election, because in the primary election, you can only vote one party or the other. And if you cross over, your vote doesn't count, it's spoiled. In the general election, however, you just vote for the people in each office that you think will do the best job, that are closest to what you believe. So some people are just not sure about that, but you can split your vote on a general election.
Okay, we have 5 questions for you that I would like to see if anybody would know if it's true or false. So, here we go. True or false? I can mail my ballot on election day and it will be counted as long as it is postmarked on election day.
True.
Who said false? Yes, you're right. It has to be there by the closing of, before 8 o'clock on that same day. The only one that you can do is for military, okay? Okay, so it is false.
So put it in the mail before.
Yes.
It has to be there on election day.
Second question is, I made a mistake on my Michigan absentee ballot and want to change it. I have not mailed it in yet. How do I change it? Anybody? Is that true or false? Oh. So, let me just revisit that one, okay? Sorry about that. You may visit your clerk's office and with the mistaken ballot and have them spoil your current ballot and provide a new one. Just be sure it will arrive at your clerk's office by election day, and that you can no longer spoil though your ballot after early voting starts on October 26th. Okay, so if you think you made your choice, you decide, nope, I'm just not happy with that, I'm gonna go ahead and change it. Do it before October 26th, because after that, when early voting starts, you cannot get another ballot, okay? You can't spoil your ballot.
But you can before then.
Yes.
Yes, you have a question.
Yeah.
Say it loud.
If you don't get to the clerk's office before the 26th, can you just not send in your absentee ballot and vote in person?
That's a good question.
What you can do is if you have your absentee ballot, you decided to change your mind, you can go and vote in person. You have to surrender your ballot. If you do not surrender it, they will have you sign an affidavit saying that you destroyed or your dog ate it or what have you. Okay? So, yes, you can do that, but you sign an affidavit and you know what happens after that. They'll give you a new ballot, okay?
Well, the important thing to remember is, if you change your mind or get more information and you want to change your ballot, you do have an option.
Okay, and this is the next one that I wanted to say. And true or false, hopefully this is good. I didn't receive my Michigan absentee ballot, or I lost it, or the dog ate it. And I'm unable to go to the polls to vote in person. I guess I cannot vote in this election. That's not true. That's not true. Okay? Call your clerk's office. Ask what your options are. Okay? I've seen some where students have overnighted their ballots to our office because they didn't ask for it early enough. Okay? So there are options out there, okay, to vote. Make sure you check into that. True or false? I plan to vote in person on election day. I'd like to look at the Michigan ballot before that, but it is not available anywhere. So tell me, is that true or false? You want to see what's on the ballot. You want to see ahead of time before you even get your ballot, or when you get your ballot, to see who's on that ballot and find out information of that candidate.
Somebody-
Yes.
True.
I'm sorry, it's false. You can find your sample ballot online, okay? The Michigan Voter Information Center has a search tool for that. Or go to vote411.org and provide your address. You'll see exactly what will be on your ballot for address in Michigan. No need to be surprised on election day. And you could even go into the clerk's office, those that live here in Holland or township or what have you, and they have sample ballots for you as well. Okay, so if you didn't look it up but you want a hard copy, they have those available. Okay?
And for this election, that's probably really important because there's so many things on the ballot. It's a really long ballot. So if you look at it ahead of time, make your decisions ahead of time, that makes it better all the way around.
And I will tell you, the lines do get quite large, and you're just very, okay. Question 5, true or false? I plan to use a drop box. I can use any drop box I see. Good job. Yes, you're right, you cannot.
I mean, you're right, and it is false.
It's false. You must use a drop box in your local precinct. For U.S. mail, allow 2 weeks for delivery. It is recommended that you mail your ballot by October 22nd, and you can drop off ballots for your immediate relatives, but not your friends or your college household. So your roommates, say you're going to City Hall and you're going to drop off my ballot. You want me to take yours? Technically, you're not supposed to. Okay. All right. But they have that drop box outside. We just want your vote. Get your vote out there. Okay.
So it's important to be an informed voter. Like we said, this ballot is a really big one, and you want to make informed choices. So how do we know that, I'm sorry, this is about election security. How do you know that your vote is secure, that the election results are accurate? Well, there's multiple checks and balances. I talked to you a little bit about the Board of Canvassers. The committee that does the canvassing has 2 Republicans and 2 Democrats. They work together as a team. They all have to, I think the majority has to agree. But the point is that it's not just one party doing the canvassing, it's both. The qualified voter file is continuously updated. It connects to driver's license updates, social security records, county records. So when they say that there are people who died who are still on the voter rolls, that's a really rare occasion because these files are checked and double checked continually.
They also are checked through the health department as well. So then they get sent over to the QBF, to the qualified voter files, and then that is updated.
Yeah, so when somebody dies, the death certificate information is updated. Voting machines are not hooked to the internet. There's no connection there at all. If you vote in 2 states, because we got this question at a candidate event, how do you know that people don't vote in 2 different states? Well, it's a felony if you do. And the information between the states is also coordinated. So if you want more information about security, the Ottawa County Clerk, Justin Roebuck, does a great job of explaining security. He posts when they're going to be checking the machines. They're doing accuracy machines in the next couple of weeks. That's posted. You can watch it online. You can go view it yourself. But he has a lot of information about election security. So if you have any questions, that would be a good place to go for information. I'm sure if you had a question, you could send it to him and he would answer it. And then we're all bombarded with misinformation and disinformation. So what do? How do you handle it? First of all, just stop, take a deep breath, don't react immediately. Let your critical thinking kick in. Consider the source. Where did the information come from? Is it a reliable source or not? Is it a reputable organization? Be careful of the things that you see on social media. I'm sure you all know how much it can just be magnified. Evaluate the headline. Sometimes the headline might not match the content. It might be just a headline that's an attention grabber, an emotional grabber. Look beyond the headline. Look at the information, see if it makes sense. What about the sample size? Is it big enough to really be valuable? And then there's a difference between journalism and free expression. The values that journalists adhere to are accuracy, independence, impartiality, humanity, and accountability. So the reputable news sources will follow those guidelines. You can look online for local media. We have a newspaper here in Holland. It doesn't cover as much local news as it used to, but there are some other news outlets that are relatively local that do carry information. How many of you have a local newspaper where you live? Okay. It seems like they're being consolidated. So there's, the league is concerned about the lack of transparency, but also lack of local information and how it impacts local elections. And the local officials are the ones who make the decisions that really impact your life day to day. So the league is real concerned about that. We have the voter wing, and then we also have an advocacy wing in the league. And the advocacy league part of the league has taken a position on supporting local newspapers, largely because of the information related to voting and local officials. So you can also go to some fact-checking sites, and there are a few of them that are listed there. We have some handouts here. I didn't bring a whole lot of them, but if you are interested in some reputable places to fact-check or get news and information, you can check what we have there. And then locally, like I said, Ottawa County has lots of great information on their website. You can go to vote411.org. That's a nationwide website with voter information that is sponsored by the League of Women Voters. It's nonpartisan. We send out questionnaires to the candidates, and the candidates answer those questions, and the answers are posted just as they're not edited, just as they responded. And so you can go to Vote 411, put in your address, it'll pull up your ballot, so you can see everything that's on your ballot. You can see the candidates that are on your ballot, and you can even look at their answers and compare them. So there's lots of opportunities to do research on the candidates in the elections. And then the Michigan Department of State, michigan.gov/vote is another resource. Lots and lots of information about voting and the elections that are coming up. And then we talked about vote411.org. I guess we can't push that one enough because it's ours. I don't believe sponsors it. But it really is a way to find out about local candidates. We have school board candidates locally who have responded to questions, county commissioners. So some of those local ones are maybe more difficult to find out about, but you can. And then MLive has partnered with Vote 411 to produce, it's really like a little newspaper, a voter's guide. And that'll be available, supposed to be delivered this week, so hopefully soon. Questions? We really wanted to focus on voting information. Hopefully answer your questions. Yes?
Voting information? I like to vote for college life.
Good. You know, and I think contacting your representatives and your senators is really important.
Senators.
Yeah, and it's always good to send them information about what you believe and what you want them to support.
Yes. Yeah.
Good. Other questions?
We just want to make sure that you understand everything about an absentee ballot and how that is handled, okay? Because we really would like to see you vote for this election and make your choice. Have your choice be heard, okay? The young, like Barb said earlier, you know, they register, the young people register between the ages of 18 and 30, but registering and voting are two separate steps, okay? Let's make sure you spread that second step and have people vote.
Yes?
So say a young adult doesn't have their license, should they go get a state ID if they still don't have a license?
That's
That way,
probably,
like, they have a photo ID for voting.
You don't have to have a state ID
But if-
license or an ID card, okay? You can use your college ID,
Okay.
okay? Yes, that's fine.
as long as it's a photo ID, yeah,
Mhm.
you can use it. Yes?
So I wanted to clarify, so that if I get like an absentee ballot, and can I decide to bring it on election day to get it like counted?
Yes,
Yes, you can.
yes.
Just so I.
Oh, I'm sorry. No,
No,
no.
okay.
Clerks frown at that because they have to put into their system that you're returning your ballot. You can bring it to the clerk's office on that same day on election, as long as it's before 8 o'clock, and then it will be counted, okay? Those are like, we keep them separate, and then throughout the day, we go pick up mails several times, and then we'll process them in the system, and then we will tabulate those. So yes, you can bring those not to the polling location, but to the clerk's office.
Other questions? How many learned something that they didn't know before you were here? Oh, good. I'm glad. Okay. I guess we're completed with our part of the.
Kind of
program.
early, aren't we?
Just only 5 minutes.
I think everybody else will be
Yeah.
happy.
I just have a quick question. Do you know what some of the leading reasons why younger people don't end up not voting?
Reasons?
Yeah.
The reasons that you read are, they just sit there, they don't think that their vote matters. We go to community events primarily during the summer, and we have a table with voter information. And people stop and talk with us, and one of the questions we always ask is, are you registered to vote? Are you registered to vote at your current location, because not having the right address information? Are you going to vote in the primary election? That was the big this summer. And we did have people that say, no, it doesn't really matter to me. It doesn't matter, people don't pay attention to what I say anyway, so my vote doesn't count. That's,
Or my guy's not gonna win, or my girl's not gonna win, you know, that's what they're thinking already. You know, so what is it gonna matter? It's just one less vote. Well, if everybody thinks that it's gonna be just one less vote, what's gonna happen? Okay, so, yeah.
and when you think about the people under, well, Gen Z and millennials represent almost 50% of the population. That's a big group of voters. And if the voters all vote, then they have more impact. So that would be another reason I would say, you're just one vote, but one vote with all the other votes can make a difference.
And this is gonna be for you. I mean, this, yeah, for the future.
Yeah,
I
think about-
mean,
Yeah.
you know, how many times is this person gonna win or what have you? And was that your choice? Maybe, maybe not. But did you vote? No. Okay, well, you know,
Yeah, but read about the candidates, see what they believe, what they support, and if it matches up with your beliefs. Anything else?
any other questions?
Well,
We'll
thank
see.
you, you've been really attentive.
Yes.
We appreciate it.
Thank you, thank you.